All right, everyone, welcome back. What? Welcome back. How you enjoy the weather? Boo. Well, I don't know about y'all, but it was raining at my house last night.
Ooh.
I was out there dancing in the rain. It was great. It actually rained for like 3 hours out my house. It was something else. Well, you know, hey, I loved it, Tony. At least it was 3 hours in my mind. It might have been 3 minutes. But it rained for a while. Of course, all y'all know I live way up there between Conroe and Cleveland, so I saw Tal for a moment. Maybe it was raining up where he is too. So, Bob, how you doing?
Perfect, hi, Joe.
Good. All right, here they come. Gloria, Herb, John.
Okay, how come I can't hear him?
I'm not going to save him this chair then. Gloria, how you doing? Thank you. Can you hear me, Gloria?
Yeah, now I can. Hi.
Good. All right. I get a megaphone. All right. Well, again, please, we have a great meeting for tonight. We have Hugo from the Astros Foundation here with us tonight. I will introduce him here in a minute. We have a book review from Mike, and we're going to talk a little bit about SABR 51, and we're going to talk about a few other things. But before we do, I would like to welcome all the guests, whether you're here or you're not here, or if you're online. Aiden Franklin from Houston joined in July. David Hilton. David, are you here? I saw him in June. Okay. Juan from Katy. David Sutherland from Houston. Frank Lee from Kingwood. Okay. Well, in the crowd we have Sean Coggins, right? Sean, how you doing?
All right.
Where are you from, Sean?
From Richmond. I moved out of Katy after Harvey, though, so mostly from Katy.
Okay.
Did that step up? Oh, they're both pretty nice. I'm in a good part of Richmond. Oh yeah. Oh, okay, you're just around the corner. Yeah, that's where I used to live, actually. Yeah, we got all the cool people there. I like this. Big slot.
All right. So we also have Trish. And y'all told me DCEoli, right?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, this is Lou's daughter. If y'all know Lou. Trish is on her best behavior today because her boss is here from the Astros Foundation. So it's because of Trish and Lou that Hugo is actually here. And I really appreciate it. What you did. Les King. My phone is ringing, really. I'm sorry, I get on to my students. I apologize.
I've got to go.
No, that's my brother. Les King.
Yeah,
You're a guest of Carl.
right.
Right? Unless you're from
Kingwood.
Kingwood. Okay. And Ian Cleppinger.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yeah.
Where are you from, Ian?
I'm originally from Lincoln, Nebraska.
Lincoln, Nebraska.
That's right.
And you are a student where?
At Rice.
And how'd you hear about us?
Through a case competition that's Rice competed in Phoenix in March.
Ah, so there we go.
What kind of case? Like a baseball operations. I didn't go. My friend headed the team, and they wrote like a computer program that simulated games to like test umpire accuracy. It's like a whole thing. There's a presentation on it reported somewhere.
How did SABR get into the trial?
Well, I'm telling you. But we got our hands everywhere, Mike.
Yeah.
We got our hands everywhere.
You're Mr. Social Media.
Well, I try. And one final guess that I just found out about. Can you open the chat?
It's open.
It's Gloria is in Oklahoma City, and her brother Eddie is sitting right next to her. Y'all know Gloria. Gloria is our chapter secretary, and there is her brother Eddie.
Eddie.
Welcome, Eddie.
That's good.
I have one more special announcement, and I found out about this on Facebook yesterday. Is that right, Vince? Does that sound about right?
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, Vince has been hiding some news from us. Vince and Lena, who are both chapter members, right?
Yep.
Vince and Lena are getting married, everybody. Right. It will be the first ever Larry Dierker chapter wedding. When two members of the same chapter have gotten married. I don't think that ever happened before. Did it, Bob?
We sort of did the family membership already in preparation.
Right. Okay. So there you go. A first for everything. Sometime.
We're y'all be there.
Okay. Well, I was going to give the exact name.
Invited.
We're all invited to their house.
No, it's in Custer National Park in South Dakota.
Custer National Park is out there. And Vince has agreed.
At an undisclosed location.
Slicing remind us to go. And Vince and Lena have both agreed, since they're Brewers fans, that they will all fly us up to Milwaukee next year. And we'll see Astros. No, I'm joking. No, he didn't say that.
Hey, the Brewers are coming here next year. Right?
Oh, we'll see.
We'll all be rivals for like.
Don't listen to my lies.
Astros Brewers World Series.
Or an Astros Brewers World Series.
So guess who's gonna be sleeping on the couch?
Yeah.
Partner away for arrangements.
So just real quick, y'all. Last time we met, it was June the 12th. We had a high school young lady, Bailey Hall. We had a fascinating presentation. If you talking about how analytics are important in baseball, but you shouldn't just rely on them. Okay, and if you haven't had a chance to see it, go to our YouTube page and you can watch the chapter video. It's a fascinating presentation.
Is she working with the Yankees now?
Huh?
I just wonder if she's moving with the Yankees.
Who? Well, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, Bailey Hall. She's a big Cubs fan, but she's a member of the Rogers Hornsby chapter, right?
Oh, yeah.
Chris also gave a brief presentation on Larry Dierker's only no-hitter, right? It included a radio broadcast of the ninth inning. And then Larry Dierker, who was here that night, spent a few minutes talking to us about it.
I remembered it.
So I've already made the announcement about Tal Smith's generous donation to the chapter. So we're going to send out some information so that we can get some, it's give Tal a hand, man. He didn't have to donate 16 stocks. We appreciate Tal and everything he does. Next month, September the 25th, Jay Verrill, the Astros Vice President of Business Strategy and Analytics, will be our speaker. So do not miss that next month. Also, as I was reminded, Greg will give a book review from one of our favorite authors, Evan Drellich. Winning Fixes Everything. So
I'm going to be as unbiased in my presentation as Evan was when he wrote the book.
unlike the book, Greg, I'm just giving you a little, Jerry Miller, the winter meeting coordinator for the Rogers Hornsby chapter, emailed me earlier today, and he said, just to let you know, Joe, we're already planning the winter meeting at Texas State University. It's going to be January the 6th, 2024. Rogers Hornsby chapter, they do an annual winter meeting. So put on your calendars for January 6th to go to Texas State. It's usually an all-day event. They have great presentations. That's how we found Bailey last year. And plus Nancy Finley for the A's made a presentation last year. I have Nancy's business cards. So thinking about calling her up so she can present here.
We've got a lot of speakers.
Yeah.
Plus, it's in that old building at the top of the hill. It's a very
Yeah,
nice,
Old Main or something like that.
nice venue.
Right.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Well, for those of you who didn't go to SABR 51, you missed a great time. It was really wonderful. All right. It was great for us to escape the Texas heat for a week. Of course, when I got back, my dad said it rained every day we were gone. So I'm like, wow, thanks. All right. But if you're interested, and we would like more people to go to the national conventions next year, if you've never been to Target Field in Minneapolis, the SABR convention is going to be August 7th through the 11th in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The Twins are playing the Guardians.
Might have to go to that.
So if you want to go see Carlos Correa play again, escape the heat from Texas for a couple of days,
Might go and see my daughter and new grandson.
right? Just mark it on your calendar now. Maxwell Cates, one of our chapter members who lives in Toronto, who's actually in London right now. He always sets up dinners for us. SABR 50, he set us up at Phillips Seafood at Baltimore. SABR 51, we went to Harry Carey's. But he told me to ask, because he doesn't really know anything about Minneapolis, some great places to eat in Minneapolis. So y'all think about that, and we'll plan another chapter dinner in Minneapolis. So it's kind of like our tradition moving forward. So I personally, I've been in Minneapolis once, and it's kind of go.
My daughter lives there. I'll have to. I've been there once. I can help you.
Lucha, are you still selling shirts or no?
I'm not having them out there. People can always order.
Okay. If you want to get a SABR chapter, Larry Dierker chapter shirt like Phyllis has on, or a polo, different colors, Lucia can set that up. All right, those are for sale. We have a brand new newsletter out. If you haven't had a chance to read it, they're pretty good stories. It's online, so we had some really interesting. We're already looking for stories for our fall newsletter. Tony Adams, who maybe you know him from the SignStealingScandals.com, but he's actually a Larry Dierker chapter member. He had an interesting tweet today, and I asked him if he would if he would sort of put something together based on that tweet for our next newsletter, and he said, "Yeah, I'll get with you in another week." So, Tony, get ready for something from Tony. It's if I tell you, I'll lie, and I'll just it's something like Chris would do, very analytical, but it's fascinating. I'll look at it and I'll let you know. I'll show you exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah. So anyway, very quickly, did the Astros do enough at the trade deadline? We got Verlander and Graveman. Are we okay? Are y'all happy?
If Brantley comes back and he's good, yeah.
Brantley's in Boston, right? Are they going to activate him? Okay.
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay. Are the Mariners going to win the West?
No.
Yes.
I looked at the schedule last night. I think the Mariners play the Rangers.
6 out of the last 10 games.
Yeah, 7 out of the last 10 games at the end of the season.
Beat each other. What?
The Mariners are playing the Rangers. 7 out of the last 10.
The Rangers. That's where they have.
What's that?
They play the Astros and the Rangers. Their last 10 games.
Yeah, well, we can't beat
Remember
Seattle.
when Cleveland sprinted? When was that? 2019 and 17.
I think it was 17 when they won like 20 games in a row.
And
The Indians back then.
So the Mariners are having their spurt. Then they're
We'll see.
they'll have a week like the Rangers had.
Yeah, we hope.
They do a win streak. And we're due one, huh?
If we get in the wild card, we want to be the last wild card. Wins.
I agree.
You don't, what you second or third wild card.
Yeah, those fans are.
Yeah, it's for what you wish for. That's just nice.
I think we're fine against Texas. It's Seattle that bothers us.
That look like our fancy, the Yankees are gonna have to receive.
Well, no, I guess not. Is anybody worried about Christian Javier and Brown?
Yeah. Now, more Christian than Bill.
Yeah, well, I was saying a little bit earlier, Frommer either throws a no-hitter or gives up like 6 runs or something. I don't know what's going on with Frommer, but Fred, you said something about the angle of his pitches or something like that, right?
He throws like Keuchel does. So he throws that ball that flies in the dirt. If he doesn't swing at it, and the umpires don't call it, he has to elevate it. If he elevates it that zone, they keep block.
Yeah.
Just like Keuchel, it's the exact same way. When they were swinging at that crap in the dirt, he owned them all day.
Have you looked at his pitches angle from last year versus this year?
Yeah,
And what do you see?
he's fine. He's on it, but what the problem is, I think he's squeezing it. I think he's squeezing too much, and they don't generate near the spin rate that they were generating before, because they can't get anything to get a bite on.
That's the
All
key.
too slow.
That's the key, it's a spin rate.
And
The
so-
other key is both of them are 100 pitches in 5 seconds.
So that's
Well,
90% of the pitches.
That's true, but
They're very
care about that. The key to Javier's Invisiball is the spin rate, because it doesn't drop as fast as the other balls, and that's what throws the players off. That's why Aaron Judge couldn't hit him with 3 eyes, but it's not happening this year for some reason.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, Verlander's get away because he throws up high. And they'll chase up high, but down low, if they don't chase and he has to elevate it, it drops right into their swing planes. That goes hard.
Incidentally, Keiko, speaking of him, pitched 4 shutout innings in Minnesota last night.
Yeah.
Games.
I saw that.
I'm not sure.
I didn't know he was pitching.
Tony Adams' graph was about random fluctuations in player advance. It's random. I'll show you the graph, but he has this nice graph that talks about random fluctuations in players advance. And I'll show you.
That'll warm the topic a little hard.
Well, tonight we have a special guest, Hugo Mojica, right? All right. He's the recipient of the 2020 Mayor's Hispanic Heritage Community Activist Award. His devotion to serving others is the motivation behind his involvement in many community-based initiatives and organizations. He was born in Nicaragua, but raised in the near north side of Houston. Hugo graduated in the top 5% of his class from Jeff Davis High School, became a first-generation college student at the University of Houston, where he attained a bachelor's degree in political science, right? Go Cougs. Yeah, like him already. He then furthered his education and earned a master's of public administration from Florida International University and a master's of arts in international administration from the University of Miami. 2019, he was awarded an honorary degree from Houston Community College Board for his service to our community. Hugo has over 2 decades of experience working for local, state, and federal officials and nonprofit organizations. He currently serves as program manager of community affairs at the Astros Foundation, the charity arm of the Astros. Hugo also serves as president of the League of United Latin American Citizens Council, number 402, and district director 8 over 18 counties. He serves as trustee on the Holocaust Museum, board member of both Avenue 360 and Sir John's. Is that right? In 2017, Hugo was honored with the Comcast Hispanic Hero Award for his service in the community. Basically, in a nutshell, Hugo is everywhere. Okay? Does a lot of great stuff, working for, in particular, a great organization, the Astros Foundation. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Hugo Mojica.
Thank you. So the star of the show tonight is not me. It's this. I'm sure you want to see this. So fair warning, you drop it, you break it, you pay for it. So my name is Hugo Mojica. I'm the program manager for the Astros Foundation. We're basically the charity arm for the baseball clubs. So we actually are the human side of it. I heard the whole discussion about the baseball side of it. I don't deal with the baseball ops or the analytics. I deal with actual people on this side. So my job, in a nutshell, because when people ask me, what is it that you do? I do a lot of things, not baseball related and some baseball related. So, but in a nutshell, I do the 50-50 program. So for those that have been to the ballpark, if you win, I'm the one that gives you your check.
Yeah. There you go.
So, right. I get all the time. Can I get the winning numbers? Can I get the winning numbers? Like if I did that, I would be rich by now. So, but I can't. So it's the system itself that auto generates all the numbers. Trish is one of our sellers there. I manage 30 sellers. So in our job is basically to raise half of the money that goes to the foundation, and then the other half goes to the winner. Well, the winner of the 50-50. Last year, just to give you a perspective on how we're doing, we did $4.1 million in just charity alone. And then this year, we're close to $3 million, and we haven't even finished the season.
That's the Astros Foundation.
That's just the foundation.
Wow.
That's just the shared care program itself. So
Some gambling laws that make that legal?
yes, sir. So in 2016, you guys, everybody that was here in Texas voted for Texas Constitution to allow sports teams to do 50-50. That's how it became law. So if you voted in that, great. If you didn't, thank you. It still passed in 2016, and then it was implemented in 2017. And so that's how I got involved in 50-50. Actually, I come from nonprofits and government, so I was never looking to work in sports. My background is politics, so I've been dealing with politicians for a long time. So in 2016, they started the program, the 50-50 program, and I applied for a part-time job. It was free parking, free tickets to the game. I was like, hey, it's a win-win for me. I have a full-time job. I don't really need the extra money, but it's just the benefits of being there. So I was hired part-time in 2016. I was there for a year. It was chaotic, to say the least, at the beginning, because nobody knew what 50-50 was. And so we were there to educate people. The next year, they had a position open at the foundation, and I was hired full-time, and I was hired to run the program. So I've been there officially full-time 7 years. This is my 7th season with the Astros. And I always tell people it's not a job, it's an extension of who you are. So you have to love what you do, because it takes an enormous amount of time. I spend quite a bit, I practically live there. So, but I love what I do. So it's like I said, I enjoy what I do. So, but that's only a component of what I do. I just do the shared care. But then I manage 3,700 volunteers. So, and the volunteers basically are going throughout the whole city of Houston, and then they volunteer, they serve at every nonprofit you can think of. They go from the Houston Food Bank to Medical Bridges. They do sorting of supplies there, to kids meals, where they serve and actually prepare meals for kids, around 7,000 kids each day. And then we have a whole range of sunshine kids that deal with the cancer awareness, kids that have cancer or are being treated for cancer. So we deal with over 90 nonprofits, organizations in the greater Houston area. So when the funny part is when they're introducing me, it's like, yeah, I'm everywhere, literally everywhere. So, and then our volunteers wear an orange shirt. So whenever they see an orange shirt, they see me there. So they assume I'm everywhere, which I couldn't be, but I'll take that. Because my job is basically to facilitate the process for them, and then they go and serve the community. Last year, they served over 20,000 service hours. So that's a little bit over close to $600,000 worth of actual money that volunteers contribute to the community in terms of service. So we save quite a bit of money to the nonprofits by providing volunteers and stuff. So I know you guys are an educated group on sports. We own the hooks, by the way. So I keep looking at it. Corpus Christi Hooks. I manage the 50-50 at the Corpus Christi Hooks as well, and I manage the one at the Sugarland. So I manage all 3 teams. Of course, the Woodpeckers, Fayetteville, it's against the law to have 50-50 in the state in North Carolina. So we're working on that. So, but my job is basically to manage the entire system on all teams and stuff. So it's quite a bit. And like I said, I always tell people it's more than what I signed up at the beginning, but now, I mean, I do quite a bit for the foundation. So, but at the end of the day, it's about talking to people, sharing experiences about the game of baseball and how we can basically better our communities. For those who are not aware of what the foundation does, so we have pillars. one of our pillars is homelessness. Of course, we have been dealing with this quite a bit in downtown area, the homelessness population. So we try to support organizations that provide services that deal with the homelessness population. We do a lot of work around domestic violence awareness as well, and cancer awareness, child care, awareness, cancer awareness that we do. But one of the biggest things we do is education and sports. So if you're not aware that we have an academy, a youth academy, I welcome you to go out to the Acres Home community because we serve over 14,000 kids for free every year. For free. They just have to sign up. We provide everything from the uniforms to instructions to, so it's a great program that we've been doing for years. And part of the shared care 50-50 funds that. So it's basically a circle for us. So Trish raises the money and then we use it to educate and teach kids in softball and baseball at the Youth Academy. So we've been doing that for quite a bit, and actually over 10 years at the Youth Academy. And the girls softball team won the World Series. This is the 4th time that they won, and the boys as well. So it's like it's exciting when they compete against the other academies that they're competitive and they win. So we always talk about the championship culture in the Houston Astros. Let me give you
You say it's in 4 acres?
Acres Home.
Acres home.
Yeah, it's in the north side. It's on Shepherd and
Okay, up by Garden Oaks.
yeah.
Jimmy Winfield.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so
That's
they're
the same
all
one.
out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have 6 fields out there, and then we actually have an education center that we built 2 years ago.
We did a vintage baseball
Yeah.
exhibition out on this field, right?
Right.
They were about 10 years ago when they were fairly new.
Right. Yeah. So it's been out there for a little bit over 10 years out there. So
They brought you at a different location.
no, it's the same one. Yeah. It's located at Sylvester Turner Park. That's where it was by MLB. So it was an MLB initiative that we started years ago, and it's grown over the years over there. So one of the things I was going to say about the kids over there. So when we educate and teach kids, it's not about just baseball. It's about growing the whole person. So we teach them financial aid. We teach them how to fill out applications for college or prepare them for a career in whatever they want to do. Because long term, while the game of baseball is an avenue for them to learn, it's long term. If they want to make that a career, great, but they have an option to go and do whatever they need to in life in general. So it's always amazing when you see all the kids out there and all the great work that they're doing. And we have hundreds of kids every year that we had a couple of them that were drafted. So for those that follow, so they were from 6-year-old all the way now to they were drafted professionally. So it's always great seeing that we grow the pipeline of future players and future leaders actually. So in a nutshell, like I said, the foundation is the charity arm. We do quite a bit of work around the pillars that I mentioned: military, homelessness, domestic violence, and then youth and sports and education. So some of our biggest fundraising events, there's the Diamond Dream Gala, which is coming up November 12th. This year we're going to have Seal as one of our entertainment. So it's going to be exciting having Seal, the performer, at the Minute Maid, and we have 1,000 people on the floor. So it's actually at Minute Maid on the floor there. So it's exciting having that many people, and then of course some of the players show up and enjoy the festivities as well. So my job, like I said, I do the 50-50, I do the volunteer side, but then of course I do the community outreach for the foundation, and then also I do, so like yesterday we had a concert at Minute Maid. For those that were in the area, it was a nightmare outside. So because we had a sold out crowd, yesterday. It was RBD. It's a Mexican group that they had yesterday, so it was sold out. But the lines were all the way around the ballpark. So it was like we had a playoff game out there. So and yeah, and it didn't get better inside, but it was so my job is like yesterday we had 70 volunteers that handed out wristbands at the entrance. So all our volunteers do all the giveaways. If you sign up to volunteer with us, everything's on the website because the volume of people, I can't be talking 3,700 people at the same time. And I always tell people it's like, unless you have an emergency, don't call me, text me or email me because then it gives me an opportunity to follow up. But everything for us is done online for the volunteer side of it. We try to make it very simple and easy for people to work and volunteer on that front. And so, but I am here to if you have any questions specific to baseball in general on the human side of it, I am bilingual. So sometimes I am the translator for the players. It's always fun doing that part. Even though some of them speak fluent English, I'm sitting there like, wait, why am I translating? Speak translating me. So, but it's funny, but the guys are the nicest person ever. But I think it translates from Mr. Crane down. The organization, world-class organization, and Mr. Crane sets the tone for everybody. So he is the most generous person you ever meet and very down to earth. So if you actually see him in the ballpark, he'll stop and talk to you, take a picture, or because for those that haven't seen the ring, he paid for every single ring, including all part-time people. So he gave thousands of rings out.
What ring?
The ring. Yeah, I see it over there. Yeah. So she has a ring, and so he's been generous. He gave every single part-time person a ring, including the volunteers this year. He gave 80 volunteers a ring, custom ring with their name on it. So he sets the tone for everyone. And then I always tell people, if you have the top down in a line, I think it all helps for us. And we act as a world championship team, which we are, but it comes from Mr. Crane all the way down. So if you've been to Minute Maid, and I went to the Marlins game when the Astros play over there. It's a whole different atmosphere. I notice everything. I'm not impressed with the Marlins at all. Other Brewers or other cousins. Yes. As soon as I was sitting down, I'm like, is he really wearing the Brewers at my like really? Yeah, but you're still wearing the cap. I should have brought you. I was gonna bring you an Astros cap next time. I can't have that. I was gonna say it looks like race, but it says race. Yeah.
I have a testimony
Yes, sir.
for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, a few years back, like in 2013 or 14, Fred Arnold, the Minute Maid hosted had a Dancing with the Astros event downtown,
Right.
season ticket holder.
Yeah.
I think Altuve won,
Yeah.
but there was a young man there that had dropped out of like junior high, that he got into the baseball program up there in Garden Oaks.
Yeah.
And got involved in baseball, and he wound up being an honor student his last couple of years in high school. Because he kind of turned his life around, having the direction that the baseball gave him there, and they presented him with a $5,000 scholarship for college. At that event.
No, it's awesome because that's what I do. I do the scholarship coordination. So I knew Fred well. So
I remember there's chapter.
yeah, so I did so we do 25 scholarships for $5,000 every year. So it's called a Grand Slam for Youth Scholarship Program, and it's been around over 20 years. So I'm the one that coordinates it internally with all the kids and deal with all of. So Fred, I used to deal with Fred quite a bit and stuff. So And we actually have a scholarship in its honor. Yes, sir.
Good man. Did you say that the foundation has 3,700 volunteers?
Signed up, yes, sir. Yeah, so when I got there, we had about 600 people.
600.
Yeah, so it's grown over the years. So, yeah.
When you do the 50-50 the minor leagues, the money stay in their community?
Yes,
Is it Astros Foundation or is it Sugarland Space Cowboys Foundation?
no, so the Astros Foundation manages all three of them.
Okay,
So it's the same account, but the money stays in their community. So half of the money, they request the money and then we send it back to them, basically. So, but it goes through our account. The goal of that is to have them on all.
so when you're trying to sell that in North Carolina,
Yeah.
you're telling, yeah, the money we raise
Right,
stays here.
but it's a state law that prevents from.
Right, but I'm saying this, as a selling point, you're not saying we're not taking money to Houston, it's.
Right,
Our-
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, no.
It's possible, yeah, why-
No, definitely. Yes, sir.
Do other teams have a national organization or other major league baseball teams? Sounds really changed. I wonder if other people are starting to model it.
Like the foundation type or?
Yeah.
So the Texans, I know, the Texans have a foundation and then the Rockets have their foundation. So I can't speak on what they do other than they're around.
Yeah.
To be frank, I mean, I don't know what they do. And I'm on the foundation side of it and the community side of it. And so I see a fancy report, but I've never seen them anywhere. So, yes, sir.
Did you get to go to the White House?
I know I did. I had to work.
Did Paula?
Paula did. Yeah, my boss did. So they just took the team and then some of the executives were out there and stuff. So yeah.
Well, how many employees are in the foundation, not in volunteers? How many are in the?
So people assume we have an army of people in the foundation, but there's only 7 of us.
Wow.
7, and then so we deal quite a bit. We do quite a bit of work, and so when I tell people there's like 15 of me, there's really 15, but just 1. Yes, sir.
You mentioned the scholarships.
Yes,
Does
sir.
the foundation also support youth athletics, baseball, and maybe other sports?
We do. So through the academy, we actually do quite a bit of donations and stuff to all other teams, little leagues, but our scholarships are, I mean, it's for anyone that wants to be. They don't have to be actually play baseball, as long as they're athletes or any type of team, they can apply for the scholarship.
And what's your opinion, since you've been in this role for some time?
Yeah.
In the inner city in Houston, in
Yeah.
sports, attracting young people or young people staying away? Is it growing or what?
No, it's grown for us quite a bit. So we used to be in a 7,000 range. Now we're in a 14,000 range. So we're impacting a lot more kids.
Good.
And that's the important part because it's not just about baseball and softball, it's about every in life, right? So we teach them all the skills that they need at the academy. We use the vehicle of baseball to teach them life skills.
Yeah, that's why the kid did so well. But y'all are building other inner city fields, right?
Well, so we have community leader fields. So there's about 7 of them around actually 9 around the city that are sponsored by different corporate sponsors. And what they do is they maintain the field, and then the teams around around the fields they use it. So those are called the community leader program for us. So yes, sir.
So I know a couple of years ago, I know Mr. Crane kind of stepped in to kind of help, keep the Houston Open Golf Tournament going.
Right.
And I know they've launched the Astros Golf Foundation.
Right.
Is that separate from the Astros Foundation, or is it kind of fall under that?
We're separate.
Oh, you're
So
separate? Okay.
we're separate, but not really separate. So that
Okay.
makes sense. So yeah, so we have 2 different organizations, the Astros Foundation and the Golf Foundation, but we basically intertwined the 2 staffs. So but we work together because some of the charities that they fund, they come through us. So yeah.
So
Yes, sir.
in watching baseball, regularly.
Yeah.
It seems that many teams, when they're watching away games, also have people in the stands doing the same thing traditionally.
Yeah.
So lots of other major league teams have the same program, it seems.
Right.
Have you ever consulted with other major league teams about our program to help them?
I haven't, well, the company that we use is Ascend for the 50-50 program, and there's other companies that actually have reached out to me. So I think the Rays reached out to me. The lifestyle show in rodeo is going to start the 50-50. For those that are not aware, it was another state constitution amendment that was passed that allow other organizations to use the 50-50. So now the lifestyle show in rodeo might be implemented next year, the following year. So if you see that at the rodeo, you know why it's coming. So yeah, but I do talk to other people because our 50-50 has been very successful to date. Just to give you a perspective on when we first started, we did about $800,000. The next year, when I took over, we did $2.7 million. Following year, we did 3.1 million. So it's grown over the year, and then last year, of course, 4.1 million. So it's been
commission.
The what?
You work on commission?
No, I wish.
Really a 40.
I wish. I wish. Yeah, no. So
It's a real attention getter in game 6 of the World Series.
Yeah.
The final game.
yeah.
The pot was $190,000.
Actually, no, that's lower. So we had the highest one we had was 240,000, 260,000.
So that was in 2017, wasn't it?
Right, but but people freaked out over $200,000. So, and we were only doing cash. So now we do all credit and credit card and debit. Because of COVID, after COVID, we had to implement that. But back then, we did it was only cash only. And when we were at $240,000, literally Trish was just standing there, people throwing money at her, like here. So I was freaking out because they were walking around with $10,000, $15,000 in cash. And I'm like, no. And then people was like, by the way, if you win, I am not giving you a check that night. So don't think I'm like, oh, let me give you a $100,000 check. No. So
Hugo, isn't it debit card only though now?
yeah.
Okay,
Credit
just credit card?
It's the same,
I
yeah.
thought it was just debit.
No, they changed the law this year. Last year. Last year.
No.
No, they changed the
Was
credit
it
card.
last year? I thought it was the year before.
The year before, it's been almost 2 years, I think. Yeah. But
I
it's
thought
usually
it was out
debit.
the stadium that they said debit card on.
But they adjusted the law, so the state allowed to use credit a couple of years ago.
Seems dangerous. I mean, for people that are gamblers, you know.
Well, it's not gambling, it's you're supporting the community. I want to tell people that it's not gambling. It's not gambling, it's, yes, sir.
You mentioned the Sunshine Kids.
Yes, sir.
I know that Vigio's been involved with them
Yes, sir.
20, 30 years.
Yep.
But you mentioned you have 27 charities y'all work with, so
No.
how do you pick the charities?
Yeah, so we do over, no, I said 90,
Is it
94.
90?
94, yeah.
Okay.
So different nonprofits organization. So it just depends on if they reach out to us, we work with them. We provide them either volunteer opportunities. We have a grant program as well. So if you have an organization that needs money, as long as they follow them when our tiers are our pillars of what we do, typically we fund them some or either through volunteer in kind, charity tickets, or actual money.
Geographically, how do you expand?
And
How do you limit your territory?
we don't, as we do the viewing area, the greater viewing area. So, yeah, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Masters Foundation. So when I buy concert tickets to
Yes.
Minute Maid, I'm actually
No,
support, you
No.
don't get any kind of.
no. So we did yeah, so the concert yesterday was, we just provided volunteers. Yeah, Yeah. but it's not yes, it's a private event, so it's contracted, they contract the building out. And so we try to help. And sometimes we get a donation from the vendor to the foundation. For the most part, it's private event. So like Pink is coming next month on the 27th. I'm not selling tickets, but so you know.
I wanted the concert, I go, I'm supporting the.
And then,
Masters.
yeah, and so Pink is on the 27th and Guns N' Roses is the 28th. So if you're a fan of Guns N' Roses or Pink, they're coming next month. So, yes, but I'm not selling tickets. I don't sell tickets. So, yeah. And I work every game, by the way. So I've been working every single game since 2016. So when people tell me like, yeah, no, I do 80 plus games plus a full season. So my years never ends. So I always tell people like, yeah, what are you doing in the off season? What off season? We don't have off season. We roll from the season to the full season, then to our gala in November to go back to spring training. So it's year round for us. Yes, sir.
Is it true Nicaragua is the only country in the world with freshwater sharks?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, so there's so yeah, so there's actually a lake in Central, so it's Lake Granada. It's a big lake and it's both the ocean and freshwater meet. So that's how the sharks go in. So it's very interesting. And it actually has 5 active volcanoes, by the way. So I've been out there when we had an earthquake from the volcanoes. So it's not fun. I was there Thursday. On Saturday, I was on a plane. I'm like, I need to get out of this country. Yes, sir.
Does the foundation sell tickets in spring training games?
No, we don't. No, the 50-50? The 50-50 or is that what you're asking?
The foundation intends to sell tickets eventually at spring training games.
Yeah,
He does mean 50-50.
50-50 though, right? Yeah. So in Florida, they do have 50-50. But it's not the same for us. It's separate, 2 separate organizations. So, yes, sir.
You have an update on that's 14, what are you doing now?
No, I do not. Sorry.
I heard he was running for president.
Oh, I agree.
What was your relationship with Hugo? One, and what can you tell us about him? And does the fact that he's not here, does that impact the culture of the team?
I think Yuli was a great addition to the team.
Yeah.
And well, I mean, that's not up to me who I would have kept him here, but that's not up to me, right? But Yuli was a great person. I used to be his translator, actually. So Yuli is a great guy. I think he was he kept the team together, I think, and that was a force that we needed in the first phase there. So he's like Michael Brantley, even though he didn't play. Brantley behind the scenes had quite a bit of influence over the team, by the way. So people don't understand that the on that side of like, yeah, well, you're not playing doesn't mean you can't contribute to the team. So Yuli's one of those. So he was a silent leader, like Altuve. So Altuve, when you see him, he's very unassuming, but Altuve runs the team there because they respect them and they trust him and stuff. So when he was missing, it was a big part of the team not being on all cylinders. But now we're there. Yuli's doing well now at the Marlins. So but I think the problem is he has family there. So I think once you're with your family in that city, it's different, I guess. So I think that's one of the decisions he made when he went over there. His family there.
Hugo, I got a question for you. Talking about Yuli.
Yeah.
And knowing the history of Yuli's family.
Yeah.
You think Yuli will ever coach?
I think so. I think he would be a great coach. So
maybe not necessarily a manager, but just like a hitting coach or something like that.
Yeah, I think he would be a great coach. I'm not a professional, so I don't know. But
just your
my personal opinion, yeah. The thing is, I think he just needs to be comfortable speaking in English. He's by the way, he's fluent. He understands. It's just getting comfortable with people and so I think that's the only drawback that I see from him, but I think he would be a great coach. So,
Do you coordinate player appearances as part of the foundation?
sometimes I used to. Now we kind of transitioning out of that through another department and stuff. So yeah, please.
That's probably worse than trying to coordinate 3,700 volunteers trying to get a player to show up at it.
Yeah, and then so one of the things when I did the player appearance is you're supposed to be saving them from everybody else. So all the mob that gets so you can always imagine when I had to escort a Tuve and you see 300 people trying to run after him and you're trying to protect them and I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna run me over first. So, but it's I mean, it's for the most part, I think our fans are good. It's just a few of them that are crazy. But I didn't say that.
Definitely not a female. Right.
No comment.
Anyone else? Yeah. You go. Thank you. Quite a few of us that went to Saber 51 are either in the room or on the Zoom call. What's that? Or in jail. Bob's not here, Mark's not here. Or yeah. Yeah, really want me to talk about Saber 51 by myself? Herb's not saying anything.
Maxwell's not here.
Maxwell's not here either. And our next speaker, where'd Matthew go? The restaurant?
Well, were you there?
Okay, but I don't want to talk by myself, Fred. So I guess what we can do is sort of move on to our next speaker, but our next speaker just walked out. So Mike, sure. Mike is next stepping up to the plate is Mike. He's going to talk about Duke Snider.
The Duke of Flatbush.
Now, as a good little segue to talking about Duke played for the Dodgers, right?
He did.
Duke retired in 1964. One of the interesting things about going to Saber is you run across companies like this. I'm going to pass this around. This is an actual Astrodome broadcast on ABC, the Astros' oldest game, TV broadcast. On the commentary is Jackie Robinson. Wow. Okay, I'm going to pass this around, and I got this at Saber. So I was thinking maybe October or November, we can actually have a viewing of this right here. Okay, so I'm going to pass it around and show, and thought that's a good segue for it.
All right.
Even though he technically wasn't on that team because he was retired.
That's true. So I've always been fascinated by the boys this summer and Willie, Mickey, and the Duke, which for you younger people were the three center fielders for New York before the Giants and the Brooklyn Dodgers moved to LA and San Francisco. You hear a lot about Willie Mays, deservedly so. Hear a lot about Mickey Mantle. I knew very little about Duke Snider, which is why I got the book. I think I actually picked this up at, I don't remember buying it, so I must have got it at the San Marcos. They have a book exchange every year. But one of my biggest questions and reasons for getting him was, how did he get the name Duke? I thought it'd be something flashy, but his daddy always called him Duke. So that mystery was solved rather quickly. I also thought it was interesting. He was a natural right-handed hitter. As of course, Willie Mays and Mickey Mantle were, and Mickey Mantle learned to switch hit. And Duke Snider's dad made him bat left-handed his whole career because I guess he had him programmed to be a major leaguer from the time he was a little boy. By the way, who did Needville play?
El Segundo.
El Segundo. Okay, Duke was born in Escondido. I knew it was close. He's a California guy. But his dad noticed that all the right field foul lines were a lot closer than the left field in most of the major league parks. So he had his son begged to be a major leaguer. He wasn't that big a guy. He was 6'1", 180. But he had that natural grace. Some of the people compared him to Joe DiMaggio. You could just tell he had it. I worked with this State Farm adjuster that played for Rice. And when Berkman showed up, he said, I went home and told my dad, we got the real deal. First time he saw him hit. So you can just tell the natural athlete. So the three guys, Willie, Mickey, and the Duke, they all played a long time. Snyder had a lifetime average of 295. Mantles was 298. Mays is 302. So they were all pretty good players. I liked reading about the early part. Snyder went in 47 as a rookie. He was born in 26. And he was also in the service for a while. Got into one battle, but he had to load a gun. He was in the Navy, but one of the things he liked to do that they talked about in the book was in forts, they would come in and there'd be submarines there that were 300 feet long, you know, so 300 yards, football, or 300 feet, 100 yards long. And the guys on the boat would bet that they had a player in their crew that could throw the ball farther than that submarine was long. And he would get a $50 guarantee because he said, I could always throw the ball about 400 feet. And one of the things he used to do in Brooklyn was it was 410 feet to center, the 10-foot wall, and he would stand at home plate and throw the fans balls before the game. So he had a pretty good arm. Then he told little stories. Most of this, he was a family guy. He lived in Brooklyn, a little, outside of New York, and some of the neighborhood families where his kids grew up that they played together. He took them to the Hall of Fame when he went in, but wasn't a real flashy individual. And then when he went to the Coliseum in LA, his home runs total dropped because it was 440 feet to the power alley in right field. It was a little deeper. So I just had a few more notes. Joe only gave me 5 minutes. I'm about done. He liked to say they won the World Series in 49, the Dodgers. And the Yankees won 5 World Series in a row. And he said, I like to compare our team because except for 2 games, we would have won 5 pennants in a row. They won the World Series and they played in the World Series in 49. And they lost a playoff to the Phillies 50. Then they lost to the Giants in 51. The shot heard around the world. Then they made the series again in 52 and 53. So 2 games. They'd won 2 more games, they would have made 5 pennants in a row. So that always kind of irked him. It was interesting the way that Buzzy Vivasi, let me get the right guy. Branch Rickey trained him when in his first spring training, would have to stand and take 15 pitches with his bat on his shoulder. And they did this every day for a couple of weeks. And he'd have to say whether they were a ball or a strike and call where they were. And then he'd take 15 minutes and he'd swing at every pitch in the strike zone. And then the batting coach and Vivasi and the catcher would vote whether he was swinging at strikes. And his batting coach was George Sizzler, who had a 340 lifetime average and hit over 400 twice. So he had a pretty good hitting coach. And then he'd swing for 15 minutes and only curveballs, but he could only hit them to left field. He couldn't hit them to the right of second base. But he said by the time it was over, he could hit 400-foot homers to the opposite field. He was up in 47. It was his first year, and that's the year Jackie Robinson broke in. So he got to experience a lot of that hell that went on, everything that Robinson went through. Robinson replaced a guy named Ed Stevens, Big Ed Stevens, who spoke to us. He got traded to Pittsburgh. He was from Galveston. He was scheduled to be the first baseman for the Dodgers. He never got over it. There's some funny stories in here. You were talking about Yulee. Campanella was that guy. He told one little story where Don Newcomb's pitching. Don Newcomb, this big fastball guy. Willie Mays is batting. He liked to throw inside. Willie Mays says to Campanella, can you go out and ask him to take it a little easy? I don't want to get hurt. campus says, yeah, I'll see what I can do. So he goes, but I don't think it's gonna help. So he goes out and talks to Newcomb. He comes back and says, Mays is kind of nervous. He said, what'd he say? He said he doesn't like black guys. Which I thought was pretty funny. There was a few anecdotes in the book like that. And that's about all. I mean, it's just a lot of story. He was a excellent ball player. He really appreciated all his time. His roommate was 12 years, was Carl Erskine. He was a 20-game winner. Once when they finally did win the World Series in '55, he won a couple of games, but there are 6 Brooklyn Dodgers from that era still alive, and 2 of them played for the Astros. So I thought I'd have a little early trivia, see how many we can get. That's Vermonti. He's the youngest of them. That's
Kovacs.
Kovacs. Kovacs is 87. Vermonti's 85. There's a guy named Fred Kipp. I didn't know much about him. He played 1 game. He's 91. Jim Gentile played for Houston in the Dome. He played 4 games. He's 89. A guy named Tommy Brown, who's 95, and Carl Erskine, still alive. He's 96. And there was another one that just died recently. But let's see if I got any more notes. Oh, only Charlie Dreesen was a really good manager. And he managed them for their first 4 or 5 years and very successful. He always told them, y'all win 90 games, I'll get you 5 or something like that. We'll win the pennant. And Snyder had a lot of respect for him. But in '54, he decided he wanted a long-term contract. And Dodgers had a policy of only doing 1-year contracts. So he held out and wouldn't sign. So they signed a guy named Walt Austin, which signed 27 1-year contracts in a row, and Dreesen never managed them. And then came and then Lasardi, yeah, they didn't hire a lot of people.
What did Snyder wind up? Did he stay with the Dodgers for his entire time?
No, he played 1 year with the Mets. And then he talked about how ironic it was. He finished up with the Giants. He signed with the Battle on the West Coast. So I read the book. I'm going to leave it up here with the book selections. Somebody wants it. You can pay the same thing for it I did. Thanks a lot, guys. All right.
All right, very quickly, Bob is back. I don't see Gloria, and Herb is not going to say much about Scott. You want to say a little something about Saber 51, Lucha? Tell us. I'll tell you my favorite parts of Saber 51. This is why you ought to go. Some of my favorite presentations. Ozzie Guillen. Oh, if you have never heard Ozzie Guillen talk,
Powerful, huh?
it is not PG. It is not PG-13. And Ozzie didn't care what you thought. All right?
He played Gator.
Yes. So Ozzie was in a very interesting way of using the English language. That's all I want to say. Not always a big fan of analytics either. And he let you know why. So if Ozzie wasn't wild enough for you, Mike Vick. Mike Vick.
Is it Rick?
Also made a great presentation. I never laughed so much at a baseball presentation as listening to Mike Vick. So this is some of the stuff you miss if you don't go to conventions. I also liked Jason Benetti. Anybody know Jason Benetti? He's the White Sox play-by-play and Fox Sports national broadcaster. Jason Benetti. And then Chase Carpenter, the Cubs senior director for strategy and analytics, and one other guy I'm missing. I'll let somebody else talk. But they had some great presentations. My personal favorite, this is just Joe, the kid at heart. They had a great presentation about Snoopy and baseball. And I just love that stuff, man. It was, I mean, she had like the Snoopy dolls and everything, Charlie Brown. So it really was a great time. I got there a little early. So I went to a Cubs game. I saw the Guardians. I went to Iowa for Jeremy Pena bobblehead night. So I got me a bobblehead for Jeremy Pena from the Quad City River Bandits. And then my wife and I, we weren't very impressed at all with Progressive Field where the White Sox play. So we didn't stay long. So besides, it started raining. You know, so that's all I got to say about Saber 51. Bob, did you have any highlights for Saber 51?
Well, you didn't get shot.
Yeah, I had a couple. Number one was the weather in Chicago. It was so fantastic. We actually walked around at night and felt halfway safe. We walked all the way down to Harry Carey's restaurant, which was superior. He's a little pricey, but he's got a museum in his restaurant that'll knock your socks off. And we saw Harry Carey's cow. In fact, there's a picture of his cow in the newsletter this month. Thought that was pretty cool. The story behind Mike Veck, if you haven't covered it already, he was a promoter, big time promoter. As he says, I was hired by 5 major league teams and I was fired by 5 major league teams. His big deal was disco demolition. And
That's right.
his dad, who was Bill Veck, said we got to find a way to increase the attendance at Comiskey Park. And we're averaging about 25,000. We need to get 35,000 in here. Mike said, I'll take care of it. So Mike was going to work one day and he heard this song that he disliked passionately. And he wanted somehow or other get rid of it. Didn't want to hear it again. So he came up with the idea of people bringing discos to the ballpark. It was a doubleheader. And at halftime, or between the 2 games, people could bring the discs on the field and they will blow them up. Well, long story short, they didn't have 35,000 there. They had 65,000 in the ballpark and 65,000 outside the ballpark trying to get in. He takes responsibility for it. He said, my dad wanted the crowd. I got him a crowd.
All right, who won the second game of the doubleheader?
It was postponed.
The fans won.
They forfeited.
All right, Mark, Scott,
Gloria's out there.
Gloria, Lucha, Phyllis, y'all want to say anything? Scott, anybody?
They had a nice ballpark tour, and several of these conferences will take you around to all the ballparks in the city. That was nice.
Yeah.
Phyllis and I did the tour at Wrigley Field. That was nice, fabulous tour.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah, we went everywhere, and we found out that Milo Hampton had actually did some announcing. So yeah, we were walking through, and I was like, oh my God, is that Milo?
Yeah, they did not get along. That's how we got Milo. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Okay, Gloria, did you want to say anything? Or Mark, did you want to say anything? Mark is eating. Sorry, Mark. Do you want to say anything about Saber 51, Gloria?
Yeah, sure. Am I off mute?
Yeah, go ahead, Gloria. We can hear you.
Oh, okay. I thought one of the most interesting things was meeting and hearing the woman talk that played with the All-American Girls Professional Baseball Team.
Mabel Blair, right?
Yeah.
Mabel Blair.
And Lucha and I got to talk to her for a while and even took some pictures with her, but she was sharp as a tack. And then one of the women, I think, is either writing a book about Maybell or maybe the girls baseball team, I can't remember, that's supposed to come out next year. But I also went to the workshop for women in baseball, and I found that very interesting. And Harry Carey's restaurant was awesome. It's a museum, and I like the dessert that your grandson had. It was a baseball, and what happened when he cracked it open?
Just popped open, right? It just, I don't remember.
You get to keep the bat.
Oh yeah, you get to keep the bat. That you get, yeah, it was an actual bat,
Yeah.
and you pop open you hit the baseball, it pops open, you keep the bat. So, right, I don't know. I spent so much money that night. I don't remember much.
And I also went to the workshop on the Negro Leagues, and I really liked that. And next summer, I'm determined to go to the Jerry Malloy conference.
Good, good. Herb, Mark?
Yeah, I'll say a few words. I actually did stay for the entire baseball game at Progressive Field, and got to see Kendall Graveman get a save that night. So I could see why the Astros wanted him. I'm not so sure, since he's been here, if that's been a great move or not, but he's pitching tonight as well. So, and then I stuck around an extra day and went to see the Schaumburg Boomers, an independent league team, and they have a nice ballpark. You could get there by Metra, which is a local commuter line. So that was interesting. And the most fascinating thing was trying to get to Chicago that first day. Bob and I were on the flight that got routed to Indianapolis, and it was a long, long day, but it was still a lot of fun.
Good. Mark, did you want to say something? Can't hear you, Mark.
He's muted.
Oh, you got to unmute the mic. Okay. I do have a short story I can share. So one afternoon, I was in the vendor room and I was perusing the books at the McFarland table. And this tall guy kind of is hovering behind me, and it's quiet, but eventually he says to the woman working the table, you know, there's so many great looking titles here. I just feel like I want to buy every book. And she says, well, you wrote a bunch of them, didn't you? Well, that piqued my curiosity, so I kind of craned my neck around to get a look at his name tag. Bill James. And according to Tom Zacco, he hadn't been to a convention in 10 years. I don't think anybody was expecting him. And I felt like a little schoolgirl in 1966 who just ran into Paul McCartney. I didn't know what to do with myself. And but I had a book in my hand that I was thinking of buying. It was called Understanding Sabermetrics. Then I went ahead and bought it. And he was at another table, and I walked over to him and I said, Mr. James, if you would sign this book for me, I'd be very honored. I realized you didn't write it, but you did invent it. So, and he graciously took it from me, and he wrote an inscription, which I couldn't read his handwriting. And he said, it says, I don't understand it either. That's my
Thank you, Mark.
That's
Good.
one of my savior stories.
Thank you. Well, the Jerry Malloy Negro League Conference was the other conference that was held in July, and it was mentioned by Gloria. And Gloria, you may know this or may not know this, but we had a chapter member that actually went to that conference, Matthew. Yep. So he's going to spend just a couple of minutes talking about that conference.
Great. Chris, you've helped me with some presentation. I appreciate it. Thank you for giving me time to speak today about the Jerry Malloy Conference. This is actually my second time to go to the Malloy Conference. The first time I went with my dad in 2008. It was in Chicago. SABR as an organization started in Cooperstown in 1971. You probably noticed that there are all kinds of committees within SABR. One of those committees is the Negro Leagues Committee. Prior to SABR and prior to the Negro Leagues Committee, there was hardly any representation of the Negro Leagues and players who spanned the Negro Leagues into integrated ball after Jackie Robinson and Larry Doby. So I really thank SABR for doing an excellent job of highlighting the Negro Leagues. By the way, if you pay attention to my presentation today, one of you is going to go home with this fine Detroit Stars jersey. So the Detroit Stars actually honored the Negro Leagues the weekend we were up there for the conference in Detroit. And that was great. The team actually let us meet at their ballpark one day. So I'll share a little bit about that. I'm going to pass some things around. This is actually the conference bulletin, so you'll find some write-ups in there. If you want to take a look at it, please do. As well as being born in Texas, I did spend some time in Northwest Ohio. There's a team called Page Fence Giants. They're actually out of Adrian, Michigan. But two of the ball players, one of them being Bud Fowler, came from Findlay, Ohio. He spent time playing for a professional team there. So I'll share that one to pass around in case you want to look at that book. There's a lot of great books from McFarland. And then they had a auction to help raise money to support the work of the Negro League committee for SABR. So I bought a baseball. It's got about 30 signatures on it. This comes home with me, but you're welcome to look at it. There's at least 3 Hall of Famers on here. I see Buck O'Neill, Buck Leonard, and Monty Irvin. For those that don't know, Monty Irvin was actually a member of our chapter for a while, and as well as being a Hall of Famer. So pretty neat. Okay. So much like any SABR conference, there were a lot of presentations, really good ones. We also got to take in a lot of great historic museums. I went to the Motown Museum, but we went to the Wright Museum, which is an African-American history museum. We met at places like, this is actually backstage at the Detroit Opera House, if you can imagine that. So they had some really great venues for this conference. One of the big focuses of this year's Malloy Conference was Turkey Stearns. Turkey Stearns is a Hall of Famer. We were very thankful to have members of his family. His daughter and granddaughter came and spoke at the conference. This is the granddaughter. This is the daughter. She looks an awful lot like Turkey, I think. And she's actually a basketball player and basketball coach. So she's probably the most athletic of Turkey's grandchildren. But Turkey played center field. He played for a bunch of teams. Born in 1901, died at age 78 in 1979. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that here in just a moment. So he was one of the best center fielders, not just in Negro League baseball, but in all of baseball. Ted Radcliffe, some of you may know Double Duty Radcliffe. I had the opportunity to actually meet him while he was alive. What a character he was. He gave the opinion that Cool Papa Bell couldn't field with Turkey Stearns. Now, Cool Papa Bell's got a reputation for speed. He says Bell was faster, but Turkey Stearns was one of the best fly ball men he ever saw. That's pretty high praise. So career totals for Turkey Stearns rank him among the greatest baseball hitters. Now, one of the things SABR has done through the committee is research as much as they can about actual games from the Negro Leagues. They're hard to find because the local paper didn't necessarily cover the teams, and if it did, it was usually the black newspapers that covered it. But based on the statistics that they found, he has a .615 career slugging percentage. That makes him 5th highest. A .348 career batting average. I think the Astros would sign him in a heartbeat. 7th highest in Major League history. And a .416 on base percentage. Again, 24th highest in baseball history. So why am I showing this picture? Well, this is Mr. Turkey Stearns. This is 1979. He's all dressed up in his suit. Why is he there? This gentleman was a journalist for the Detroit Free Press newspaper. Got interested in Turkey's story, called him up and said, hey, I'd love to do a story did the interview and he said, hey, we need to get a photo to run in the paper. Called his friend, the photographer, and the four of them, Turkey's daughter, the journalist, the photographer, and Turkey, showed up at Tiger Stadium. They borrowed a bat from the clubhouse. He took his spot at home plate. And this photographer took this one picture that ran in the paper. Why is this important? Well, several things. Turkey only played in the Negro Leagues. He never got the chance to play in integrated baseball. When he went to Tiger Stadium, he never played at Tiger Stadium much as he would have wanted to. He was in the outfield. Why in the outfield? Because Black people sat in a special section at Tiger Stadium for the most part. And the clothing he has on was similar to what he would wear if he went to a ball game. People really did dress up like this. By the way, Tiger didn't smoke, he didn't drink, and he was a family man. I really got a good impression of Turkey Stearns. Well, have you know that 1 month after this photo was taken, Turkey passed away. So it's very important that we have this photo. It's very important that his family were there to tell this story. And I feel sad that he didn't get the chance to play. But he is in the Hall of Fame. Now, one of the big teams from the Negro Leagues early days was the Detroit Stars. They were founded by a couple of guys, Tenny Blount and Andy Rube Foster, who's from Calvert, Texas. He's in the Baseball Hall of Fame for starting the Negro Leagues in 1920. Detroit Stars had a lot of great players besides Turkey Stearns. They had a Hall of Fame pitcher, Andy Cooper, Bill Holland, and Edgar Wesley. They also had a Hall of Fame center fielder, Pete Hill. They had at least one other Hall of Fame player, too. And Bingo DeMoss took over the Detroit Stars in 27 and led the team to their first postseason appearance in 1930. And that season, they won the second half. So they split the seasons in two halves, but they lost the playoff series that year to the St. Louis Stars. So the Stars started in 1919 before Negro National League began. And they played 1920 to 1931. And we got to go to one of the stadiums that the Detroit Stars played in, called Hamtramck Stadium. It is amazing that this stadium exists. It's one of 12 that exist where actual Negro League games were played. You can tell there was a rainstorm the day we went there. But we actually had a meet and greet at the stadium. This conference was fantastic, the way they set it up for us. Look, gotta go the right way. So one of the gentlemen that came to the meet and greet is with me in this photo. This is Mr. Ron Teasley. He had a cup of coffee with the New York Cubans in 1948. Why is he notable? He's one of 4 living players from the heyday of the Negro Leagues. By the way, Willie Mays is another one of the 4 players. They also introduced us to the Negro Leagues Family Alliance. So as time goes on, there's only 4 Negro League players, but you've got family and extended family of these players. In fact, in this picture, we've got a family member for Hall of Famer Pete Hill. We've got family members for Turkey Stearns and other players pictured. And they are preserving the history of the Negro Leagues. They're also trying to continue to educate people about the Negro Leagues. One of the places we visited on our trip was historic Tiger Stadium. Now, I'm sorry to say, the stadium has been bulldozed, but the Detroit Police League has put a ball field on the spot of Tiger Stadium. By the way, yes, this is my t-shirt from 24 years ago from the last year at Tiger Stadium. I even got to throw off at the mound. That was fantastic for me. One of the guys that was big into preservation was really upset that they put a AstroTurf down as the field surface. But I think it's fantastic that they preserved it as a ballpark. This gets used a lot.
They have home plate, same place.
Home plates, it's in the original orientation. They don't have the short porch in right field.
And no obscured view with the iron post.
Right, exactly. So, Negro League players from Texas. These players are all in the Hall of Fame. They're all from Texas.
Some of them we know, like Rube Foster. He also had a half brother, Bill Foster. By the way, at the conference, I met Doug Foster, who's a relative of both Bill Foster and Rube Foster. Willie Wells from Austin, Smokey Joe Williams from Seguin, Hilton Smith of Giddings, Andy Cooper of Waco, Biz Mackey of Luling, Ernie Banks of Dallas. As far as I'm aware, these are the Hall of Fame players born in Texas, but that's a pretty good list right there.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes, the Ernie Banks. So
He's in the Texas Baseball Hall of Fame.
why am I pointing this out? Because I think that every one of these players deserves recognition. I have been to Calvert, Texas. I don't know who here has, but at the time that I went many years ago, like 20 years ago, there was not a marker or a sign or anything even testifying to the fact that Rube Foster was from Calvert, Texas. Well, that's been rectified. I found out that in 2008, a historical marker honoring Rube Foster was placed at Calvert, Texas, but his half brother, Bill Foster, also from Calvert, in the Hall of Fame, has no marker, has no record. I think that he should have one. I'm talking to some people, including Doug Foster, a family member, to see if we can get that done. If anybody else is interested in monuments, I'd love to talk to you about that. I would really like to see everybody on this screen get a monument. I think they deserve it. I think all these communities would benefit from having a historical marker. Now,
There is a grocery store in Giddings that has a little Hilton Smith.
Is there? Okay, I'll talk to you after class. Biz Mackey of Luling was a catcher. It says he retired from the Newark Eagles. Actually, Monty Irvin played for the Newark Eagles. He talked to us about that. And that team was moved to Houston in 1948. Now, they disbanded after that. Remember what happened in 1947? Jackie Robinson gets signed. Larry Joby gets signed. So baseball integrates, and pretty soon after, ball players are getting snapped up from all these Negro League teams. So the quality of play decreased, not because they didn't have good players, but the good players were getting signed by the major league teams.
There were 5 or 6 members on the Duke Snyder's Dodgers.
Okay, so by the way, I don't have a picture of this, but when we were at the Tigers, the Tiger Den at Tiger Stadium, they brought a player to speak to us. His name was Jake Wood. He played in 61 and onward. He was a second baseman. He was the very first Tiger farm system developed black ball player to play for Detroit. Now I said 61. That's 14 years after Robinson and Larry Joby. That's hard to believe. By the way, Detroit's got a large black population. Always has, but to not have a major league player on your roster that was African American, that's pretty late.
But that's developed in the man.
Yeah.
They had
a couple of players on their roster prior, but they didn't feature them. Okay, so I'm going to speak just for a second about this new committee they've got called 42 for 21. By the way, if you want to look it up, there's a website for it. 42 for 21 committee is continuing to pursue recognition of war players from the segregated era of baseball. Only 17% of players in Cooperstown from the segregated era come from the Negro Leagues or some form of early black baseball. But if you look at the integrated era of baseball, 44% of Hall of Fame players are of either African American or Latino ethnicity. So it seems like there's still an underrepresentation in the Hall. So they've nominated 42 people for consideration. I'm not saying all of these people are worthy, but they're asking the Hall of Fame to take a look at those 42 people. So with that, I've covered what I wanted to cover. Who remembers what was the team that moved from their previous city to Houston to finish the Eagles? There you go. Sorry.
Jersey ruined again.
Okay, so any other questions? Anything I can
answer for anybody about the Memorial Conference. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, this is the part of the evening where if you don't want to participate in the trivia contest, better just, I'll let you, you think you did this? I have some swag from SABR 51. I have, some gifts for maybe some people that might win the trivia contest, this nice tab. I got a shirt, you know, if you'd like to read a great article about Billy Sunday, written by me. It's in the SABR Journal. I have that. They pass out. I have a couple of pins. Oh, I went to the Field of Dreams too. Thank you, Jimmy. Yeah, I went to the Field of Dreams. So
there a game?
That was great. No. It isn't. But we're gonna have a trivia contest. Last time we were here, Kobe Ferris, David Hilton, and John Lloyd won. It was that three-way tie, but Kobe so graciously agreed to write the trivia contest. So without further ado, Kobe, it's the last thing of the evening. If you're going to go ahead and leave, please don't forget September 25th, Jay Verrill, Astros Vice President, Business Strategy and Analytics. Do not miss that.
If you're not going to trivia, this can be a team event.
This can be a team event for trivia, and I got some gifts for y'all. But so we give our guest Hugo one more round of applause. He probably wants to go. So and when we're done, we have books for everybody. So
No, I didn't put it up there for anybody wants.
online, there we go. Thank you. Thanks again.
Thanks for the help, Brent.
Thank you, Hugo.
Thank you. I see you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll see you at the ballpark.
Sure. Hey, you got a gosh. Nice to meet you. Thanks very much. You got a couple of charities I work with.
By the way, it's top of the sixth, 9-4 Astros.
Very nice job. I don't know.
Jordan hit a 3-run homer.
That's good job. Right.
Mike, 6 sponsored race last year. I'm sorry.
Did you get your ring back?
Yeah, I have it.
Yeah,
Nothing else.
Oh, that makes sense. You're the old girl that does it now.
Yeah, and for us.
Yeah, the real deal. Talking to the floor again, there was send somebody to go.
Oh, Timmy, this Kobe's to pass out.
I think I've credit like.
Hi, you know what? I've been here 13 years. I think I've won
Harry.
3 trivia contests. I'm nothing.
I think we have plenty of.
We don't.
Anybody else need one?
Subject?
Huh?
You pick a good subject?
I did, and I didn't put it on here, but I'm gonna explain it to y'all here. So the topic of this trivia is retired numbers. So these are retired numbers across Major League Baseball. And if you pay attention, the question number is the number retired. So number 1 was the number 1 retired. Like question number 7, player wore 7, which was retired, all the way down to 15. So keep that in mind if that helps you out.
Oh, so if there's a tiebreaker, it'll be name the number of the player. Probably not.
So I could read them out to you aloud, or you can just read it yourself. Started with a softball or two.
Let the people know there's more questions. I'll scroll it down when it gets down to number.
Gotcha.
Is there anything on the back? No, okay, great.
Go back.
All right.
Here's the National Pastime Magazine. If you haven't seen it.
I like it.
I have 6 gifts. So the top 6 winners will get to pick. We'll do it by whoever gets the most gets the pick first.
Can you move the thing up so we can see the rest of the questions? There, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Why don't you go on the bonus? There's one more bonus. What was that? There's a bonus too. If you go a little bit farther down. Mark. There.
I agree, well, the draw, no one of that. Yes. All right, we're gonna have yeah. As people, some people play that as he's not looking at like, well, I'm up there, it's like for very cheap. I came here to the service. Review person. Such a much. So it's Joe. Yes, now it's all down. Oh, hey, I'm switching. It's a copy. There you go.
Oh, snapping games video too. I saw the card committee because I came across that blog.
Yeah, and I was trying to. But
Freaking navigate Google around and see if I can find.
I'm like, the next one thing, well, that movie. You're
Yeah.
right next to it. The little time was there, like different, right, your bounds there, and maybe you're. Really, so this is all.
Let's go way back.
Yeah, fun stuff in the '70s, I know now. 14 for really vital, that would be even legend. So it's pretty slow, at least stuff. Yeah. But it's where it's version number 4. Yeah, something like that. Maybe I talk photo. You like video games? It's gonna be like, oh, 9 from now, the 9.
I know.
Yeah, the uniform number is
This
works what I said.
it won't be power pros that came to America briefly, then falls somewhat mostly. It has a big history in Japan. It's like almost 30 years, now. Yeah. Yeah, I was playing on my superintendent like a month or two ago. It has like Elmo and it has a bar field on his year before he retired on Tokyo Giants. It's kind of cool.
So, and you have like this, what works, so 10 numbers. Wonderful, so they're doing it again.
Yeah, how's that work? Like the whole project proposal process, and all that? Because I do have a little bit of interest in research.
Well, whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Just like shoot you an email.
Right, so you got me. I'm supposed to go around.
Yeah, sure, it's on the website.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, really? Well, that's it. Oh, you're
That's background.
Oh,
So. When he's, they're back out of the background, which is restrained enough for making moments. Yeah, next to the brewers. But I lost that. Never have, enough pictures from this. No, it's nothing. Big over there, it's pretty much for. No, we're doing that, so it's gonna be a lot of good ones. That's what you need. I'll really, yeah, once go and big boom.
Oh, got a camera on. Oh,
It's great. Well, we're writing down to the rest of our survey.
yeah, I definitely went there. I think I have your bot plaster on there. I think I've seen it somewhere. Yeah.
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 Now, sales. So they just stand out.
We need another minute or about ready? All right.
Could you raise it back up to the top again?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
My brother loves getting me like Oscar player shirts. He got me an Evan Curtis one for Christmas like a year ago. He said he had a lot of trouble finding me.
That's what it was. I was oh, we had I said, I found out now that I thought that's why once again, that's why so
Kind of sounds like he's a fighting character. You know, that you see it Twitter information. Texas.
Well, I just thought, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I'll bring her out here instead. Right. Right, for the series. So here. And if I were to, I would just see the trophy. Yeah, this is. No, I want to use. You would want something out of the. I'm sure it's all. But I'm like high sisters. I'm good. Yeah, so. Yeah, Ronnie Mars and $50. People are don't say you didn't look at okay. Let's see let's still but that's tired of our city because of the false fault. That's not happening. That's why we're still on that. Sure, Joe Sawyer. I have to read it. Just well, let me close here. All right.
Any of y'all need more time?
So does anybody get does anybody need any more time? Yes. Some of us got sleep at 6:30 in the morning. We have a 2-hour trip home. Hour and a half trip home. It's almost a call on the Congo. Yeah, I'll see some. Hey, for sure, but listen, like. You're a fair different side, yeah, we should, we did what it says. I'm glad you got it. But you're up. Down, we said, we've had really said. Like, no one had to create, you can write something there, that's hard. There's 300 stories there, you know, we're over that. Yeah, we did great. Once more, this, what you have, restaurant. Garden thing. So from the key to all the great, right?
So,
Yes.
yeah.
ERA, 20%, personality, where's the? Right. That's government agency, they said, price, they wouldn't say.
Oh, maybe played for,
I already sell it. Yeah. I saw that, I was like, so, okay, I didn't see people are, I saw it, I got the house. Sure. We'll make it results. August, I'm good. Man, maybe go. Remember talking to you? Science for teaching all of us. Science for you'll be after, very much. And you're down there. Well, it's still a joke. Interesting. Yeah, so it's just racist. I think it's terrible.
All right, everybody, we ready? All right, we're going to go.
27.
Oh, 19, it's not gonna be pretty.
Oh, so then-
Come on. All right, also, number one, this St. Louis Cardinal was a wizard with his glove, winning 13 gold gloves, 15 all-star appearances, and submitted his spot in Cooperstown. Who is it? Dan Miller. Ozzie Smith, that's what it is. Number two, this Dodgers manager, known for his large personality, led his team to 2 World Series titles. Dodgers do have number 2 retired for Tommy Lasorda. Number 3, this Braves outfielder won 2 MVPs along with his 5 gold gloves and 4 silver sluggers. Dale Murphy. Number 3 is Dale Murphy, retired by the Atlanta Braves. Number 4, this is for you, Vince. This Brewer was a first-round draft pick and went on to win the 1993 World Series MVP with a different club. Paul Molitor. Number 4.
Still very sad about this.
yeah, he did.
You know, I was a closet Blue Jay fan for a long time.
No, sad face, that's the concern.
I had to have big kids.
Number 5, this Cleveland player was an 8-time All-Star, 1-time batting champion, and the 1948 MVP.
Al Rosen.
Lou Boudreau. Lou Boudreau is correct.
Yeah. Thank you.
This Boston Red Sox player played in the infield his entire career, but at Fenway, he's immortalized in right field.
Johnny Pesky.
Johnny Pesky is correct. So number 7, this Hall of Fame catcher won 13 gold gloves, 7 silver sluggers, and was the 1999 MVP. Pudge Rodriguez runs retired. Number 7. Good job. All right, number 8. This was a New York Yankees catcher who wore number 8. And no, it's not Yogi Berra.
Bill Dickey.
Correct. Bill Dickey. Number 9. This Pirates legend is known for his home run in Game 7 of the 1960 World Series. Everyone? Mazeroski. There we go. Number 10. This Texas Ranger finished his career with an even 300 batting average. He was a 7-time All-Star and even won an All-Star Game MVP.
Michael Young.
Michael Young is correct. Number 10 is retired in Arlington. You taking the quiz, Chris?
No, I had the answer. I didn't want to think about the coach.
Number 11.
I do. But I haven't.
This Angel made his major league debut at the age of 19. He went on to attend 6 All-Star games and picked up a gold glove along the way. Jim Fregosi is correct.
That's a match for no one.
Number 12. This Blue Jay second baseman won 2 World Series titles, 10 gold gloves, 12 All-Star appearances, and was elected into the National Baseball Hall of Fame. Berto Alomar is correct. Number 13. Fred spent all 19 years of his career in Cincinnati. Playing his final game in 1988, he finished with 9 All-Star appearances and 2 World Series titles.
Dave Concepcion.
Davey Concepcion. I'm impressed with that one. There we go. Number 14, I left this one short and simple. This White Sox helped his team to victory in the 2005 World Series. Paul Konerko is correct. He did wear number 14 and retired on the south side.
Well, chicken,
I'm talking about number 14, which was question number 14. Number 14 was retired by the White Sox. So that's kind of how I went there.
That is ambiguous.
Number 15, this Yankee catcher tragically lost his life in 1979 plane crash. He won Rookie of the Year as well as an MVP. Thurman Munson. So, how many of y'all got all 10 of the Astros retired numbers? All 10? Baby? Well, why don't you call them out? Call them out. Here we go. Right. Y'all got 5 and 7, I hope. Yeah. Jimmy Wynn was 24. Jose Cruz was 25. Jim Umbright was number 32. Mike Scott was number 33. Nolan Ryan was 34. Don Wilson was number 40. Jackie Robinson was 42. Little kind of tricky one. That's one of the 10. And then, of course, our Mayfield, Larry Dierker, were 49. So those are the 10.
how many possible?
No, we really want to.
There are 25 possible points.
Do the Astros again on this.
5, 7, 24, 25, 32, 33, 34, 40.
Could you do names?
Pat Will Biggio, Jimmy Wynn, Jose Cruz, Jim Umbright, Mike Scott, Nolan Ryan, Don Wilson, Jackie Robinson, Larry Dierker.
What's Don Wilson's name?
40. Anybody get 20?
Do you get the names?
Sure.
Numbers.
Perfect. That works.
You don't want?
Yeah, that's fine.
Is that where you want to start?
Do we have a perfect score?
How about the 15?
How about 20?
No.
Lou, you got 20?
No.
How
many got
5 to stop sharing?
Do it that way.
The 5?
I
Well,
got 5, just to ask.
whoever wins can go up there first and pick what you want. I got 7 gifts.
Well, what number would you?
You need to name
I
the
got-
players, dude?
I got 14. Where's that? Not anywhere?
I got 14.
Count the
I got
bonus
14.
questions into the answer. Okay. All right, well, we had 13, so Bob's got 14.
Okay, all right, so we'll do that.
I've got 14 too.
That's 20.
Hey, can I ask a question about number 2? I
Yeah,
put down, go back to number 2. Can I ask about number 2?
Yeah.
I put down Leo DeRocher was number 2. And he was a colorful manager, 2 World Series. So maybe Lasorda he tried. I don't know.
He didn't win 2 World Series.
Giants in 56. And Al, help me out.
54,
54, yeah, 54.
but I think that's the only one he won.
Okay. I want to get it clarified. Thank you. I didn't count that as correct.
Good, no points for you.
Anybody with 16?
Ben says 20.
Does anybody have more than 20? Anybody have more than 20? Okay, Vince, you and Lena, go up there and take your pick. You won. Congratulations, you get to write next month's trivia contest. But you also, I got 7 I got 7 gifts. You get the first pick.
All right.
All right, who has 19? 18. 17? 16? 15?
Yeah, 15.
Oh, what? We got a tie. First off, there wins. Okay, y'all two go up there. Y'all can duke it out.
News update, Astros are ahead 11-4.
Astros are ahead 11-4.
Okay. I like our chances now.
Right. So you got a Saber 51 hat, you got a shirt, no, bag, pin, not camera, no. Nothing, hat, shirt, 14. We got 14. Bob got 14. Herb got 14.
Okay. Let him call you out.
I didn't think he was still in.
So,
So we got 30.
What you got left?
I think you ought to be present.
I'm waiting for Lou and
You must be present to win.
Yes, I agree.
come on. Yeah, you can have that. Yeah.
You get a Bill James abstract from the.
That's a 2X. To fill the dreams, Ken, if you want it. Or okay.
Ian, go get it.
All right. So 14, we have Bob and Herb. So Bob and Herb, I have a Saber 51 bag.
They can't win.
Right?
We got one of those.
Mike, come on.
Out here.
I got a polo. 2X.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
Okay, I have a Saber 51 baseball cards, but it's actual baseball card. It's not like people randomly at Saber 51. I have a Iowa. Is this heaven pin? In the bag. Okay. Bob, you wanted the shirt?
Sure.
Okay. What do you want, Herb?
I'll do the baseball cards, I guess.
Baseball cards. All right, Bob and Herb. 13. Mike.
And Ian.
Mike and Ian.
Oh,
Okay, you got the bag and the pin.
I'll take the pitch.
All right, I guess I get the bag.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
You didn't carry your book.
Thank you, everyone, for a great meeting. Tal. Nice to see you, Tal.
Hey, Cal, I saved you a seat here.
Thank you, everybody. September the 25th.
And don't forget about Cal's books.
And we got plenty of books left over here. If you want those, you can use that bag to carry some. Jerry Barrel. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Hey, Joe, what kind of books do you have? We can't see from here.
You
Did I lose
guys,
you?
you can't see them, so.
They're Bill James abstracts and.
Okay. Are you going to inventory the rest of them? I'm just curious. I see that. Yeah. Okay. No.
The doggone Rangers won. But
They came from behind. Yep.
yeah, they did in the 9th inning. They had the bases loaded and somebody got a big hit. Doggone it. But Seattle's just in the 2nd inning, so anything can happen.
You got
Okay.
that one. Thanks,
See you
Larry.
later, Bob.
Okay. Got it.
the books. Fire to get motivated. I'll put that together.
Send a sheet of what's left over.
Okay.
And then we'll bring new boxes for the next.
Okay.
Make it easier on you.
Yeah, but if Bob wants a certain book, he was there. Oh, no, he was here. Okay, all right. I'll let you know, Bob.
All right, thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. Good meeting. Real good meeting.
Incidentally, the guy that authored the book along with Carl Epstein and Dick Snyder was Bill Gilbert. But a different Bill Gilbert. He worked for the New York Post.
Okay.
What Bill Gilbert's the president?
Yeah, something like that. Hey, Bob, I'll email this up. Okay, let's see if you want any particular, and I'll get this guy to give you the book one. That's not me. I'm gonna put a sheet together, okay? And I'll send it to you, Bob.
Thank you.
You're welcome,
Appreciate
sir.
that. Appreciate that.
It's harder.